played some keyboards after these mushrooms kicked in, and the human element of Quetzacahotl here was an artist who joined them 1,000 years ago, maybe 1,500 years ago, from somewhere near Mexico. A pale artist who's strange looking for his, the looks of the people there. Well, after this guitar was all done, I noticed that there he is. And that's such a random thing because that is the amalgamation of all sorts of work done over the last year and a half and just painting it and having the paint chip away. And I have to preface this by saying I have no visual art skills. I don't have any artists who come here and do work for me like this. This happened because I was manipulated for it to happen through all of the work I was doing. And the bridge that obviously he invented is right where his mouth is. But for the last 4 months, it's been where his nose is because I had a short scale Gibson neck on here. I discovered this 2 days ago and I put it back where it belongs and decided to make this video. And yeah, this guitar had said a few things. It said the first thing it ever said was "I am invisible" about a couple hundred times. But that is the exact description of Quetzacahotl, the human part of it. And I've got about 30 pictures that came off the guitar that looks just like that. And you'll notice there's something up with one eye. One of his nicknames was the one-eyed plume serpent. But you'll notice in the art show that's coming up that almost every one of the images has one eye. Juxtaposed with humans and a lot of polar bears and other Arctic animals, leading me to come to the conclusion that as goes these animals, goes mankind. I mean, Noah wasn't told to just get on the boat alone. I had no belief in any religion, or no non-belief, really. I couldn't think of what to play. My one friend was on bass, my other friend on guitar. And I ended up saying a 4-chord prayer as these things took hold. And the first chord was for, I'm sorry for people I've hurt. And the second chord was for, I forgive anyone who's hurt me. And the third chord didn't have any words, which tilted the room sideways. My two friends were trying not to fall down the hill. And my fourth chord was for thanks for everything. And upon saying that, a small rectangular future tablet thing came out of my Casio keyboard, and it filled the guitar shop with purple and green globules of light, millions and millions of them just streaming out. I was all lit up. Then it lifted me in the air in a glass and chrome chariot of a quick construction, and a neon sign somewhere was flashing, "Winner, winner, winner." And Then I noticed my friends staring up at me, 9 feet above the keyboards, and I couldn't stop laughing mostly from embarrassment. They just were staring at me. I walked outside. I sat down in a beautiful starry night, and suddenly something was next to me. It kind of rode down on a star beam. It was there. I could hear its wings beating, and I said, "Who am you?" Not sure why I said that. And it didn't answer. I just sensed that it has been here all along. And here is right on the edge of the Pine Barrens. And last night I learned that George Washington, on the other side of the river, on the outskirts of the Pine Barrens, Valley Forge, had a visit from this thing at his lowest point in the war, and it told him how to win. Long after that, I started working on a guitar. No matter what I did, if I wiped it with a stain cloth, that cloth would have what I'm calling artwork on it. If I used a tool, those tools would have images on them, and the guitar itself was an art generating machine. And I, of course, started researching everything that was happening. And it took me immediately to Greece, ancient Greece, I forget how exactly, to Hermes, based on, Googling invisible voice, things like that. But then it went further. It went to Egypt, to Thoth, the guy with the bird head. And then it went further to the first civilization on Earth, which is only now starting to be understood. And the first written words there tell a story of extraterrestrials, a family of them who were creator gods who needed gold for their planet's iron damaged atmosphere. And they were here, and they were supposed to make it an easy job by extracting it from the ocean. But that didn't work out. So 350,000 years ago, this god named Enki, whose brother Enlil was here with him, and Enki was the oldest brother, and their father is the word for sky. These are some big connections here. They needed a labor force, and without getting final permissions, Enki just went off and basically had intercourse with Eve in Eden, which was somewhere near Iraq, in Samaria. And we are the result of that experiment. And he's the only, one in his family line that has any love for us, as I understand it. We've been on trial, and so has he to some extent. He's the trickster of the family. He's considered the lord of the fresh waters. It's more than I could ever explain. But it really does tie up a lot of philosophical loose ends, especially why are we here? We are here to mine gold and then just evolve. And that evolution is supposed to take us out of the violent stage and into, listen, I don't know what it's supposed to do, but they're not happy right now. All this was well before a pandemic started, making this somewhat apocalyptic. Up until then, I felt no threats from it. Anyway, this is kind of important, and then we'll get. Enki became Thoth in Egypt, where pyramids show up. Other impossible things are there. And then because of politics within their family, which is somewhat jealous and dysfunctional, just like humans, he's asked to get out, and he comes here. He's asked to come here to the Americas. And then in Peru, I mean, almost to the month when, you know, in Egypt, they have the dates for all these things. Their king's list starts with these aliens. And he's Quetzalcoatl, and he's in Peru first, and then he goes into Mexico, and he's teaching the natives there, you know, math and advanced building and higher concepts. I don't think to the same successful extent he had been able to do it in Egypt. But a couple amazing points are that immediately after that you get pyramids here, and in fact the largest one on Earth is on our continent here. And they just disappear. These cultures just disappear, I believe, as they go home. Now, we were built to be used and thrown away. But Enki and some of these other non-business type gods, I guess, fell in love with us and tried to advance us, and it's still trying. And this flood, the epic flood, which now, if you know anything about archaeology, like I don't, but I do now, it's hard to deny that 13,000 years ago there was a worldwide catastrophe that led to crazy ice age, and then a period of hard conditions where this guy Noah received instructions to the letter from Enki on saving himself and animals. And I believe it's the animals part of the equation that we're in trouble with now, due to our voracious appetite for oil and moving into freshwater areas. The biggest lake on Earth now has oil derricks in Russia, Lake Baikal. That was a treaty broken. Shamanic curses were placed. And when the one main guy over there was arrested for terrorism, just for using the shamanism, the next day was the first case of the COVID virus. And the mechanism is such that a person has to spawn this thing, like it happened in Egypt with plagues. And I hate to say it, but that's what's happening to us. This artwork has not just been for its own sake. It tells stories in a way that I can barely wrap my head around. And it's every night. Table right here, it's just a black rectangular table. And I noticed some strange shapes on it, and since I'd been getting some crazy photographs already, I snapped a few. And when I picked up my phone, there was this newly arrived skull-headed dinosaur. I don't know what it is. I'm looking at it, and I go, Petey, look at this. And I show it to him, and he starts backing up towards that door. And I'm holding the phone. I almost wanted to drop the phone because this thing is morphing on the phone. It's forming. And then I go, I'm not sure why I did this. I thought it was a female the whole time up till then. I'm like, isn't she pretty? And it smiles. And I say something else, I flatter it some more, and it smiles some more. And I go, Petey, and now he's just leaning over there, fumbling for the lock. And I go, isn't she beautiful? And he just goes along with it like, yes, she is. And this thing smiled, exposing this big red maw, and it's still on my phone, but every time I look at it, my phone turns purple and green. You'll see that image too. And it has just been like that.